Hey everybody, welcome to Regripped, episode 2, Max, volume 2. What are we deciding on here? What do you want to? Is there a second edition? What do you like?
Volume 2 sounds cool. It feels like a Jay-Z album, so I'm in.
Okay, we'll do it's volume 2. We wrote episode 2 on Twitter, but we're gonna upgrade that obviously into volume 2. Max Homa, you see right there, Dodger hat on. Played golf already this morning. How'd it go?
It was great. Didn't quite finish. Had duty calls, but played good. Feeling ready for the season start.
See, this is why being a media person is so different than you being a professional golfer. Usually, golf, it's the only thing you're focused on. But now you got other obligations. You got media obligations. You've been doing interviews left and right. Busy guy, man.
Busy guy. Now I get to watch golf. I was playing golf, now I'm watching golf. It's like a normal person's Sunday.
So, as you see on the screen, and we're going to hit play in a minute, this is the back nine of Sunday of the 2006 U.S. Open, and we're going to watch it in full. Before we get going, just a couple of notes. First things first, Tiger Woods. You will not see him on this broadcast. Tiger missed his first cut in a major since turning professional. He'd made 39 straight cuts in majors before the 06 U.S. Open. It was the first major championship that he played in since the passing of his father, and he shot 76, never really had it going. Obviously was in another place mentally, battling with losing somebody so close to him. So no Tiger Woods in this U.S. Open on a golf course that I feel like you and I both would probably agree would fit Tiger well. The tougher it gets, the better Tiger seem to play in major championships. You're seeing Phil Mickelson here. You see a lot of Phil Mickelson. What's up for grabs for Phil? Oh, just 3 straight majors. No big deal. That's what he was going for. He was trying to join a very short list with a chance, if he wins this U.S. Open, of going to Hoylake at the 06 Open Championship to have the Phil Slam, which would, of course, be 4 straight majors over 2 years to battle the Tiger Slam that we saw back in 01. That's what we've got going. Phil was 3 for 3 in converting 54-hole leads. If he was leading or co-leading going into the final round, that was what he was doing here at Wingfoot. All of this, of course, I printed out my Justin Ray information.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Justin Ray, one of our favorites from the 15 Club. If you don't follow him, make sure you do it. I got 5 pages of research, baby. And before we get going, Max, I wanted to see what you remembered. Have you watched this in a few years? Have you ever watched a replay of this? Do you remember much from Wingfoot? Also, what were you doing in 2006?
Never rewatched it. I actually was working for golf balls at a golf store when I was in high school. I remember that every hour, for 8 hours, we would get like a 10-minute break, but the rest of it, me and my buddy were standing out on the corner with twirling a sign saying, "Come to the pro golf store." And the last hour, so we would run in, we'd watch Kenneth Ferry and Phil. It's obviously pins and needles. We would run out, and with the last hour, we've got 30 minutes to go. All the guys from the store, -1, drove by and threw water balloons at us, soaked us wet. So then we bailed, went back inside and watched the rest. Got my 1 dozen of Titleist Pro V1 golf balls. Felt worth it. That's where I was.
Man, I gotta say, didn't see all that coming. I didn't know.
I'm sure a lot of people were doing that in 2006.
I was living in Scotland. I was caddying at St. Andrews. I watched the final round of this U.S. Open in the Dunvegan at like midnight. They were playing bagpipes over the loudspeakers of the bar every time Colin Montgomerie would make a birdie. I grew up the biggest Phil fan in the world. I'm a left-hander, and I attach myself immediately to Phil Mickelson. I'm finding myself, as I'm watching this live, rooting for Colin Montgomerie.
Right.
The environment was pushing
the bagpipes.
So that's where we were. Let us know on Twitter where you were when you're watching 06. If you're at Wingfoot, let us know. You can send in questions and comments. We'll get to them. That's enough from us. Let's hit play. Oh, last thing, real quick, before we hit play. This is all done because of our friends at Cisco and the USGA. Cisco, during everything we've been going through, has pledged $225 million. $225 million. That's like 200 FedEx Cup titles. Product, cash, services to aid in the COVID-19 relief efforts. A big thanks to Cisco for helping out, putting this together, making it look so nice on your screen. And it's even going to be better this week because we upgraded our own technology. So no jumps, download the file. It should work great. And also with the USGA, there is a whole bunch of on-demand programming you can find on their app. So if you want to go to the USGA streaming app, it's in partnership with Cisco. The app's free. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and Apple TV. 250 hours of TV, including a 24-hour Tiger Woods marathon. There's so much stuff on there that you can watch and pass a couple hours of your time. That's what you need to know. Let's watch some golf. This is Phil Mickelson on 11. You ready, Mr. Max?
Let's do it.
Iron in hand. Just want to get it down there about 230, 40 yards. Fairway slopes severely from the players.
I'm going to just turn the volume down a little bit. And I wanted to ask, have you played Wingfoot?
Good angle.
No, I'm looking forward to going. Hopefully we can play there this year. Although I do remember watching this and thinking this is just the hardest golf course on the planet. It's very rare you see, Phil Mickelson come on as a leader at +4. So gonna be obviously gonna be a fun watch to see just how difficult it is, knowing what we know now. But no, haven't been. I'm assuming you've played a lot of these top 100 golf courses.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Makes me sound like I'm a top 100 chaser. I played Wingfoot a couple times. Actually, was supposed to be. I believe I had a flight Monday to go to Wingfoot for our media day. That, of course, has been pushed back. When things were scheduled, we were supposed to go out there. We had a Joel Klatt and I. Joel Klatt, who does a great job at college football for us. Klatt and I have kind of made these little media trips, golf adventure trips, and play a few courses. We had a pretty ridiculous lineup set up for this year that obviously we had to cancel. But I was reading, Max, about Ogily. Ogily first on the scene was a rookie of the year on the European Tour, and he kind of had this reputation of not being able to win. That was kind of what followed him around early in his career. This was kind of the year he broke through. He won the WGC. He had this great 06 coming into this U.S. Open. And what's crazy is, as mild-mannered as he is, he was known to be like super hothead on the golf course.
I've heard that. I've heard that he's fiery, which is hard to imagine because he never seems to have to sleep when he's playing, which is a good thing for golf. But I guess this golf course would probably, you might need a little fire because you need to amp yourself up. But obviously the mild-mannered guys usually seem to do really well in the U.S. Opens and the really hard events. It's obviously someone like a Furyk. But yeah, I also noticed playing with Ian Poulter had to be distracting with the all pink outfit. That's something a little underrated about his play in this thing so far.
I have a theory on Ian Poulter outfits during this part of his career. So you're a pretty chill guy, right? I mean, I'd say you'll occasionally get fired on the golf course, but you're chill, right?
Dude, I'm so chill.
So you're the kind of guy that if Travis Matthews if they sent you 4 shirts, I don't think you'd ever say no to a shirt.
I would say no to Ian's.
My thing is, I don't think Poulter said no to any outfit sent to him for about 6 years. Sure.
Well, he designed his own for a while. He had the claret jug pants, which, I mean, honestly are sick. I just don't know if I can play in them. But, like, this is a cool idea. Kind of outrageous, but...
Like, my question for you is, now, some of the outfits that he wore, I'm probably not going to wear them, right? Union Jack pants, probably not going to wear them. He had the gold shirt at one point.
That was sick. That was cool. I like that one.
Reflect everything you've ever seen. But, like, Justin Thomas went with the shirt and tie a couple times for the Open Championship. Do you feel like you could go shirt, tie to play?
We did. I think he stole that from our Walker Cut team. I think Polo RLX. So we'd have the cardigan and the knit tie, and it was sick. I don't think I could do it again. I mean, Ryan Moore did it for a while. I probably wouldn't choose to do it. It seems like it would inhibit my already limited speed. So I probably wouldn't offer it up, but I think I could pull it off. But I mean, it was kind of a cool look. I think Justin does it nice. It looks very classy. This pin is diabolical, by the way. Look at this little thing.
So, 10 is this famous par 3 at Wingfoot. And this hole at least from the times I've had a chance to play the golf course, I always felt like it was such a hard fairway to hit. I mean, he hit iron off the tee and didn't hit it in the fairway. He was the first cut, but I mean, it's visually a hard fairway to hit no matter what club you pull, you know?
Yeah, and they said on the broadcast that it's really hard right to left, and I think he likes to cut the ball. So off the tee, it probably wasn't the most. It's obviously an iron, but it's probably not the simplest little tee shot. It was a perfect angle, and obviously Phil is one of the best wedge players ever. So you would think this for a U.S. Open at a course where 4 overs leading, you would think this is a pretty awesome opportunity.
This has to be the gap wedge, just a little punch at the opening.
That is so good.
So hey, are you officially in the U.S. Open? Do you know this?
I'm
Okay.
officially not in the U.S. Open for now, so it's super official.
Okay.
You gotta be top 60 in the world. I'm 71. I'm working on it.
He's got 258 yards to the front edge.
I always wish I was a little bit older when Monty was coming up because I just don't. I think I got the back end of his career, and from all accounts, he's kind of, I guess you can't say once in a generation, but just a freak ball striker. I know he never had a win on American soil, minus probably a bunch of Ryder Cups or something, but always felt like I don't know much about him and his career, just simply because of the time of it, I guess.
Downwind, you could really get a tough lie in the rough, and it's hard to get a close hitting it over that ridge and stopping it where the hole location is.
Well, there's that tree sticking out there on the fairway.
He cannot really even see the green. I'm about halfway up here toward the
Looks
green.
like a real easy shot.
That's why he keeps coming over the left-hand side of the fairway.
So you got to go right over the left side of the top of that tree.
I think so.
This looks
because,
impossible.
He hits a normal fade, and the wind is.
And look at the wind. I mean, the wind is whipping.
Left.
He's looking left of the tree.
He's a big cutter. Looks like he's trying to. Is he gonna draw it?
He's looking over
I mean, I think he has to. The green's left of that leaderboard, the scoreboard back there. Oh no, he went over it.
Went up. That is so sick.
hit it high, I know that.
Well, he
Oh, I have that old shaft. That's fine.
Bunker on the right side.
That's going to bring the fall off. that-
Pro side, Max. The pro side.
Pro side. I always love like U.S. Open venues make
Over the edge, Johnny.
you feel like, or U.S. Opens make you feel like you have to birdie the par fives, or at least feel like it's a stress-free par by any means. But the par fives at a lot of U.S. Open venues are so difficult. Usually they convert 2 of the par fives into par fours, so you kind of are limiting that. And I just always loved it because you finally think, okay, par 5, I'm gonna breathe. And he hits it right down the middle and has to hit this like super shot up and over the tree. Ryuji. How does it snap it?
Uh-oh.
Holy guacamole.
Whoa. That one was.
Hey! Oh my sweet lord. This rough is disgusting.
That he might not find that golf ball.
Yeah, I mean, they got 6 guys around it. It's still going to be a search party. This looks like it's going to be super quick. Oh.
Outright leader.
They love him everywhere, but they love him there. He's more popular than Tiger there, I think.
I mean, and now, when I read Alan Shipnock, I read a couple of Bamberger articles about this U.S. Open. This was the time. Phil, never number 1 in the world. I think we talked about this before. We were talking about it on a podcast or something, but never number 1 in the world. What was the other one? Never was what?
Never player of the year, never won the money list.
Yeah, so this was kind of the time where it's like, all right, finally it's going to happen, right? He wins the PGA, rolls into the Masters, kind of cruises through that. He makes this putt, it's this bad in the wing, but he makes this putt on 11, and kind of like, this dude's going to win 3 in a row, right?
I do find it very comical that Tiger misses his first cut ever. Things are starting to change. The tides are turning, and then Tiger wins the very next major.
And the best,
See, that's what I'm saying. It's in the U.S. Open. I don't care if he makes par here. He probably does. I make birdie, but you really want stress-free pars or a good look at birdie, or it makes you feel like you do, and I feel like it puts amplified pressure on you, unrealistic expectation, and then all of a sudden you're sweating out a 30-footer on US Open greens, and it's all starting to get a little more difficult.
It's funny to see no red, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But a red 3 gets Mickelson to +3 and in the lead by himself.
So he's playing with Ferry, is that right? Is that who he was part of?
Kenneth Ferry played lights out the first 3 days. Putt, made everything. He's the classic, you know, waiting for the rookie or not. I don't know if he's a rookie, but waiting for the guy in his first situation like this to fold a little, and Phil's gonna, you know, take over. Monty's gonna take over. Ogily's gonna take over. And Ferry just kept the pedal down for 3 days. Kind of a little bit like, you know, Jason Gore at the Pinehurst US Open. Obviously, phenomenal golfers. Shout out to USGA, shout out to Jason Gore. But when you watch, you just keep being like, when's this guy going to break? But then you realize down the road, like, hey, this guy's really, really good. Like, there's no reason he is going to break it all. But we're just so accustomed to watching the same 5 guys, you know, hold on down the stretch. I'm curious to see how VJ's putting, because oh, is that a shore putter? All right.
VJ drove the ball in the left rough and had to lay up. But
So this is, you and I have off camera been talking about putting. You're talking about sticking the finish as being a helpful tool for me. And Tiger's the best, right? Tiger sticks it every time.
Tiger has the best, like, he has the shortest stroke per, like, distance I've seen. Speed sticks it. A lot of great putters stick it. VJ always kind of waves a little more. I mean, he also changed grips and styles constantly. He's a great putter. I would say that was his kind of bugaboo. You know, there's obviously a finer line. You see that. I mean, he put the putter on the ground after he hit it. And, you know, not sure if that was I feel like it's just when you're that good of a ball striker, it's very, very difficult to be a great putter. So I feel like you're looking at 20 feet all day, and it's hard to make those. And you start seeing more putts missed than somebody who's chipping it up and making a 4-footer. Always, you know, Joe tells me that all the time. It's quite difficult to keep in your mind that you're a great putter, because he obviously is. He won 9 or 10 times in a year, but always seem to be his kind of I don't know. I'm really bad at saying. What does stick in the mud mean? Maybe that's when you're lame. I don't know. It was his issue.
Dude, everybody was in this besides Tiger, you know. Outside of there, it was VJ, Podrick, Montgomerie, Phil.
Shane, what makes this course so hard? Shane, what makes this course so hard besides the rough?
Smaller greens, the rough is really, really, really penal. I mean, it's you hit it in there, you make bogeys, but just around the greens are super slopey, really, really, really fast. And it's a little, I don't think it gets as much credit as being a really tough golf course regularly like Oakmont does. But every time I've played it, it's brutal. I make a joke. The best flop shot golfers on the planet are all the members at Wingfoot, because when you miss a green, I played with my boss Mark Loomis and a couple of guys. This was back in 2014. One of them was a club champion, and I think one of them was the runner-up to the club champion. And the first 3 or 4 holes, they'd miss a green, pin would be like 30 steps on, and you're thinking, I'm just going to hit it like a regular pitch. And every time I'd see these guys hitting these full flop shots, and they'd basically be carrying it to the hole and have it stop around the hole. And they told me after, it's the only way to kind of consistently get the ball close, because if you don't hit a chip right on one of the slopes, you know, it might miss 40, 50 feet. So it's almost a different mentality on how to pitch the ball.
It gives me Oakmont vibes, just the way, you know, watching VJ's last putt, how much it broke for such a short distance. It's hard not to see the same similarities in Oakmont. Obviously, this has quite a bit more trees, but you get those northeast golf courses where they get tight, super demanding to leave the ball below the holes, but even on TV, it looks difficult to even find where below the hole would be. I mean, this putt would be you don't see Jim Furyk misread a putt by 2 cups.
Right.
But it makes you start seeing break. It makes you start seeing all kinds of things. Always fun to watch. I know Phil didn't drive this day, but
Hey, Max, the Jim Furyk,
Sort of like, I don't know.
sure. This
I don't
one
like it, I'm being honest.
it's been talked about for a long time. But the full button
The primary cut there.
just seems like it getting in your way.
Yeah, I don't think it looks bad. I just don't like the functionality of it. Like it.
Like, how are you not swinging? How are you not catching your shirt?
8 iron and a wedge.
And he stands close to it too. Like I'm surprised the butt end of it doesn't get stuck in there on occasion.
13T.
Colin Montgomerie on the tee. BJ Singh.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Not a very good spot.
Left bunker is shallow. He can, if he gets flat.
And Monty, once again, just like at number 10, way short and way right.
Kind of some swirly line swings there.
Kind of a little fanny. I mean, again, one of the best iron players in the world. You always do feel obviously tighter on the back nine on Sunday. And like I said, this golf course makes you think a little more about not being short-sighted. It makes you kind of make bad swings. That's why great venues kind of dictate your mental game. Wow, that was fun.
So we're talking about Phil Mickelson and just how well he's been playing at this point. So from the 04 Masters, which of course Phil won, through the third round of the 06 US Open to par, Phil was 25 under in the majors. Next closest was Tiger at -11, and then only one other player under par was Goosen at -2. So Phil was 14 shots clear of even Tiger in the majors. It just felt a little changing of the guard. I mean, obviously the records aren't the same, and historically not the same, but Phil seemed like he was starting to understand how to play these things, And
Is this the era of the Big Five? Retief, Phil, Tiger, BJ, Ernie.
Yeah, this was it was late, a little late in Ernie's run, but I mean, VJ was still very dominant. Phil was having a great run. You even had guys like Goosen and Furyk. I mean, I think historically, when we look back at U.S. Opens, Phil famously has finished second 6 times in U.S. Opens, never won it. We're going to look back at Jim Furyk's career and say, how did he only win one? I really think that, because when you watch these old U.S. Opens, every single time it felt like Jim Furyk was in the top 5.
Yeah, he made the cut right on the number, Gary.
I love greens like this. They're obviously incredibly firm, but if you clip it right and you hit solid shots, it spins. I think that's the fairest type of setup for demanding golf, because you don't want a ball that's not hit purely or crisply to stop. You want it to, obviously when it's soft out, but you can just hit shots and it's just going to kind of plug where it lands. Here, you really need to hit a quality golf shot to get it around the hole, because you're not going to really get away with the ball, hitting the brakes quickly if you didn't catch it solid. You saw VJ's bunker shot, didn't really have a lot of spin, ran out. Monty's had a ton of spin and bit right around the hole. I've always liked it. That's where I think the USGA seems to do a great job so many years of, even when they do push the limits on the firmness of the greens, they're just firm enough to hold the really good ones. That is painful.
I mean,
there's this theory that if you put your shadow on it, I don't even know what it would be. Some grass will grow? I don't know.
Have you ever seen it work? Have you ever seen it work? Because I've never seen it work, and I've seen 1,000 people do it.
I think it's supposed to be like giving you hope that it will at some point, but I think it's a old wives' tale.
There was a question Coach Miles asked Max,
Coach
why
Tim!
did Barrington change his swing, then essentially kind of disappear from court? Why? I guess it's a bigger question is, why do you feel like players will change their swings when the swing they have is successful?
So Padraig didn't really change his swing that much. Padraig has always been a tinker by his own quotes, and a lot of players like to have something to think about. So if it ever, not that it ever gets, easy might be the wrong word, but at some point, Padraig likes a lot of thoughts going on. He also, really has tried to gain quite a bit of speed especially recently. That's a phenomenal phenomenon. Recently, and there's no right or wrong. He's old, he's gotten older. He's had an unbelievable career. So I wouldn't say that it's changed. He just started chasing distance, so it changes little things. He's made his hip turn quite a bit bigger. He likes to work on the walkthrough, but I've always thought that of all the pre-shot and all the unique twitches he's got before a swing, his golf swing itself looks very similar. He just likes to have the thoughts of it, and he uses little drills to help him do that. Padre's one of the obviously better golfers of this generation. So it's hard to say he's changed too much, but I mean he's picked up a ton of distance in the last 3 years. Another perfect angle for Phil.
It gets up.
Ah, close. That thing looks really difficult. It looks like 3 yards over the top of the ridge. I'm assuming long wouldn't be all that fun. Right at it again for Phil, so he's pretty dialed. That last birdie he made, that last little wedge was sweet. Again, it's rare you watch a par 5 here and haven't really seen anybody sniff it.
Right. Rob Roth asked, this was before the wedge rule changed the grooves. Yes, definitely before that. What was that? Probably 2016, 17, 2015?
No, I think it was earlier. I feel like I was in college.
Okay.
I want to say it was somewhere between 2010 and 2013. Not 100% sure. I wonder what made them go to that. I've always thought, I mean, when you play city tournaments, the hardest pins are in the back of the green because it's so hard not to spin the ball for like a higher level player. So you'd almost think that it'd actually be a detriment to be able to spin it. Obviously, it's not that they're catering exactly to that type of golf, but.
There's the right part of it, but I don't think it'll come back like Roger said.
It's funny reading stuff, Max, about the final round and really the whole week was just everybody talked about how pars felt so amazing.
Yeah.
No matter what hole it was on, it was, par 5, par. And how, there were conversations late in this final round between Ogily and his caddy, like, let's just make par on the last 3 holes. Like, that's all we can do,
He's one of the best long iron players ever. He hits it to the moon.
33 feet wide up there on the top, and it's a very small.
Of course,
target.
man.
You're seeing guys left, right, but a good reason, Bob. When you're hitting that long a shot uphill, to hit it in that landing strip is not easy.
It is not.
All right, at 15, Padraig Harrington is on the green in regulation, a long way away for birdie, but he's only 1 back. He's got the only bogey.
Bogey free, huh? So what does that feel like?
I mean, you had the round this year, Bay Hill, in brutal conditions. Were you the only under par round of the day? Is that right?
Yeah.
And you were 4 under going to 18, made 6. I mean, you had a chance to shoot 68 when nobody else was under par. I know you've gone through the feelings of shooting 63 in a golf course that was quote unquote gettable. What's the difference in mentality from posting a good solid score in horrible conditions versus when you go out and shoot a low number when it's out there?
There's nothing better than in my opinion, than a bogey-free round. I don't care if it's 1 under, 9 under. You feel so accomplished. So when you're playing a really hard golf course like this, obviously, and you're not making bogeys, it just feels like you feel bordering on like invincible because everyone around you is making so many mistakes just because the golf course is dictating. You're getting lucky a lot, I would assume. You're hitting a lot of great lies in the rough, or maybe some shots that you feel like are going to go in the rough and they kind of stay in the first cut. Feel like you're always chipping uphill, putting uphill. So you always feel like you're kind of on the offense, but at the same time, you also know that you are 1 bad swing away from any kind of number. So it almost, these courses make you feel uptight. You know it's coming at some point. You're trying to avoid that thought, and you're trying to just kind of fight through the golf course. But the more you get caught up in not making mistakes, the more mistakes you make. But sweet Lord.
Oh, my goodness. Did he get caught in a button?
Yeah, listen.
He got a button.
After the debate, he might have got caught in a button.
Yeah, I mean, like this right here. You never see this ever anywhere else. You never see a pro leave a 30-footer 18 feet short.
It's so mental, man. I love watching Aussies hit bunker shots. I love watching Aussies hit bunker shots. It's just
He's the
something.
flag. He doesn't make Poirier good at the flag.
That was lovely.
That's close to going in when they hit that squarely into the.
Oh, I mean, that's 30 feet by, right? 20 feet
This
by.
is the stuff, man. Playing great on hard golf courses, winning U.S. Opens, it takes luck helps a lot. Whether people want to admit it or not, when they win, like you're going to get a lot of lucky breaks. So did everybody, but you're the one that takes advantage of it. I don't know how far by that would have been. It looked like at least 6 to 8 feet. Easy kick and par, no worries. Let's get out of here. Good setup for a lefty.
No, this shot going left, going well left.
Little foreshadowing for 18.
Man,
Tough shot. He's going to need that 64.
he's missed a couple of the longer clubs left so far.
All right, here we go for the 2-putt.
This would be such a classic 2-putt. This is where your buddies all say that joke, like, just an easy 4.
Yeah, I love it. No pictures on the card. You know what? I didn't put no pictures on the card in our combo of golf terms I hate.
I heard that one twice today. So.
Did you really hear it twice?
Yeah.
Ugh.
A tough one to swallow.
Here's your boy.
See, this is where it's hard, but this is where it's cool playing like these difficult golf courses. He's played poorly. However, if he strings together all pars coming in, he's got a chance. If you sprinkle in a 1 under par 5-hole stretch, you really got a chance. Like, you're just not out of it as much.
Right.
But it's also hard to get your brain back into that position where you're thinking like that because you are struggling. But that is an important thing to think about, to consider. Being like, all right, I played bad. I'm 3 back, but it's more likely that Phil, considering the way the tournament has gone, it's more likely he'll probably be over par than under par coming in. So I have a good chance if I'm in the ferry. Although reading that, not a lot of birdies to be had on the last 5 or 6 holes.
I mean, none. I mean, that's a great graphic. It just shows you when you're trying to finish a U.S. Open wing foot. I mean, you've got the hardest stretch of golf in the country maybe to finish. And
it's going to make you earn it, which is cool. Now, this is the putt. Furyk left way out to the right. It looks like Monty's also aiming way right. So I'm curious to see if this moves like Furyk did and almost gone to the right. And it looks like it has. I mean, that is unbelievable that 2 of the best players ever aren't seeing a 1.5 foot of break.
Come back right in the bottom there, as Mark Rolfing was telling
Man.
It looks like it's got to go left.
I felt like I was going to scoop it back to him for a second. That would have been awesome.
Colin Montgomerie. We are going to talk a lot about Monty and a chance to win this thing. Montgomerie's the lone player in golf history with 5 runner-ups in majors without a win.
Man.
That's all time. Obviously, including what we're going to see today. Harry Cooper, Bruce Crampton, Doug Sanders, and McDonald Smith with 4, right behind Colin. So that's just kind of what his career was. I mean, he's won on the senior circuit. He's won senior majors, but it was, like you said, it was American soil. He just couldn't get it figured out.
Well, you get the sense he needs something to jumpstart his round again here now.
Hit it if you're going to jumpstart it.
There's nothing getting the hole for VJ.
Like it went out to the right as soon as he started it. Not going to come back from there.
This 106 U.S. Open is being brought to you by Microsoft software for the people ready.
Sharon, I put an AirPod in.
How's that working? Does it sound good?
I can hear a lot better.
What about 2? You don't want to do 2 AirPods?
I mean, it's worth it. It's worth a try.
A lot of people out there. Wow.
Boy, it's
Pretty good.
It was almost double the sound quality.
Ooh, I can turn my volume down now. That's wild.
A question, EOIN_MC, talking about Montgomery. He said, is Monty Overrated by Europeans, but criminally underrated by Americans. It seems that way. Probably accurate, right? Would you say?
I would probably say the average American. It's hard to say that, like the circles we would run in more, the professional golf, and broadcasting circles. I think he is very appreciated. I think that he.
He's been very good with these.
I mean, he won the Order of Merit on the European Tour Max.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you got us?
It just told me it kicked me out, so I'm back.
You're here.
Yeah, no, I think that if you've watched a lot of professional golf, you know how good he is. But I would say for sure the average American golf fan would underrate him. We don't. Especially back then, European Tour golf was not as advertised as it is now. You wouldn't get to watch it quite as often at night. It wasn't as popular over here. But yeah, if you're from Europe and you don't know how good Monty is, and you're watching the wrong stuff, because the guy, it's very rare that almost unanimously amongst professional golf, people talk about how great someone is who didn't win on the PGA Tour. So that's how you know he's not only great, but he's accomplished in other areas of professional golf.
He won 31 times on the European Tour, which is 4th all time. He was the Order of Merit winner, which is their money list. 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and 2005. So it was pretty good in that stretch.
I've heard eight in a row. It's pretty decent. Man. So yeah, you see Phil, same thing. I'm sure he clipped it pretty good, but one of the best bunker players in the world, or of all time, struggled to get inside 8 feet. Ogilvy probably a little bit fortunate to hit that pin. Again, regardless of whether he makes this or not, Ogilvy's just, you feel like it's so much easier to breathe. You don't feel like you're constantly. Easy pars on hard golf courses feel amazing. That, again, going back to the Bay Hill thing, I felt like that day I did a great job of when I was around the greens hitting that to gimme, and felt like it wasn't as much work. He has more lip outs in the U.S. Open than anyone I have ever seen. Gosh.
It was going to break right in. And just
it looked perfect. It just
looked great.
The ball just, he's listening.
Justin Ray, how about this text you just sent me, Max? Most strokes gained per round in U.S. Opens in the 1990s, okay? You follow that?
Hit me.
Most strokes gained per round in U.S. Open in the 1990s. Colin Montgomerie, 2.6. Payne Stewart, 2.44. Ernie Els, Tom Lehman, and Jim Furyk. So Montgomerie is leading that list with no U.S. Open wins.
It's amazing, man.
Didn't play in the 90 or 91 in U.S. Opens. Finished 3rd in 92, tie 2nd in 94, tie 10th in 96, second alone in 97. And then sprinkled in those top 10s, nothing outside the top 33. Finished T33 or better in every U.S. Open in the 90s. It's called Montgomerie.
My gosh. Man, this finish looks impossible. Phenomenal. So again, not the closest you've ever seen, but below the hole. 20 feet below the hole, putting uphill at a U.S. Open, especially on a hole that's 480 yards, is great. I would imagine that little rough got in the club's way.
I'm gonna just let you know, just slight spoiler alert on what you're about to see after that par 3 that hit the flagstick for Ogilvy. Prepare to see some unreal up and downs, just so you know. Because they're coming. They're coming in a flurry.
Patrick hadn't won a major yet, had he?
No, that was coming next year. That hit the tree?
Yeah, so it hit the tree and kicked it right, I think.
Hey, are you a throw the divot to your caddy guy?
I usually put it back in. Me and my assistant coach in college, Walter Shine, used to have this joke that when putts were lipping out and things weren't going your way, you had to work the karma. You had to like get back in good graces with the golf course. So I'd fix extra pitch marks, and I a lot of the time will put the divot back in. But yeah, I mean, I'll throw it back. You know, we'll play a little catch.
A nice draw would be the shot to call for.
A lot of these holes coming down the stretch, look like you got to bend it right to left.
That's exactly
I mean, it's 460. 06, 460. If you miss the fairway, you can't get to the green. Like that, you know, you can get any pro to stand on these tee boxes and they can pull a shot off and hit a fairway. But is the fear knowing if you don't hit the fairway, you're making bogey? Does that make it even? I mean, does that make it tougher mentally to just trust it?
100%. I would say that if it would be an interesting research project if you took the same width fairways and knew that you could get it there from the rough. If not, I bet you people would hit more fairways because you'd just be less uptight about it. 6 of 9 fairways so far. Very, very nice. Shout out to the Nice Gang, but also pretty good in general. He looks like a little drawer. I do remember his little goatee thing, man. Looked like a staple.
You know what? Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you have some patch stuff at some point? Did you have like not a soul patch, but it was like a...
At one point I did the Conquistador, the Zora. No, this is not Zora. I had the mustache and then just like the little goatee.
Okay. How'd it look?
I was trying to go for like a suave Spanish looking guy. I missed the suave portion of the whole thing. I mean, he has no fear of swinging at it.
Oh.
And that's bad for a lefty because that hosel grabs the high. Oh, I guess it got all the way in there, but not a good angle either. It looked like Ogilvy from the right side didn't have much of a look. Oh my goodness. I mean, he didn't have a lot the whole week, but 2 of 10, man. You just can't possibly feel. He's probably the best scrambler, especially off the tee of anybody. But you just can't feel. You can't feel like you're attacking. Like you have to feel like the day is a sweat the whole time on an already difficult golf course.
I don't know that he can land this much further than the edge and expect to get it close.
These kinds of shots are all dictated by the lie. I mean, if it's sitting half decent, it's pretty easy. If it's sitting down, it's a lot of guesswork. Skill, yeah, but a lot of guessing.
It's a very simplistic green, though, where that hole is. I mean, there's nothing tricky about that.
No, and Furyk will have a relatively easy.
So he's trying to move around, trying to find a lie or a grass lane, kind of like his is.
Terrible line must have been.
It's just tough, man. Because the problem is it's so much. It's a lot of guessing on how much ball you're gonna hit. Because if you can get on the back of the ball, you don't need a big swing, which is what he just took. I'm assuming he thought he could get a lot of ball. Instead, you catch a little grass between the club and the ball, and you look kind of foolish. The ball doesn't go anywhere. Everyone's done it a million times. It's just a stuck thing. You put it in the fridge.
Well, that's about a perfect a drive as you can hit on.
My chef made me a salad. I'm gonna eat it later. That's all right.
Let's do your thing.
I'll eat it later, man.
Daunting shot, though. Look at that, folks. You got that tip of that.
Again, 135. You're
right at the base of the
finally
flag.
feeling good. Like, looky here, guys. I'm gonna have a 15-footer right after a 3-putt.
Unless you fly it all the way to the hole.
This is from 135, and he got a lot of club on it.
There's that little, well, he got it inside.
But just a little bit of rough. It's hard to spin, but
Yeah, it comes back quite a bit.
he played a practice round.
And the drive is the key, was the key there.
Good look at this hole, Johnny. The par 415.
Where did Giannis go?
And how you're going to play it with that fairway going hard to the left.
Yeah, it's a very small fairway, slanted downhill right to left, so it really plays narrow. You can get it down where Colin, you can go in with the short iron, but you can see the flagstick is way in the back right there. There's a lot of tilt, and watch how the balls run off that back right and run down there, but then, of course, the balls are in the corner, come to the edge of the green.
All right, from 15 to 16.
Furyk's birdie putt, chance to tie the lead.
Good run, good speed.
Well, your heart just leaps
And Ogilvy now for his par. This has to be put
This looks
outside the
fast.
right edge.
It's really, really fast.
Boy,
Can you believe how fast that turned? It looked really good.
looked like it was a foot from the hole and just dove left.
I thought he had made it, didn't you? Well, you know the putt better than anybody.
If it doesn't hop like that or whatever it did to get offline that quickly, Johnny.
He had good pace on it to hold the
he'll-
line.
Well, this has the feeling of a Game 7 here at Wingfoot, and tomorrow night it all comes down to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. One game for everything. Stanley Cup Final presented by Sprint tomorrow night, 8 Eastern Time, 5 Pacific on NBC.
How about the NBA and the NHL? You win at home, that's it, huh? This year.
14.
Ogilvy for bogey now. He won't forget this one from 123 yards. That's an expensive bogey.
Bad bogey from 123 on a golf course where I haven't seen very much less than a 6-iron. So
Oh, I got a huge hop halfway there. Huge hop.
Come on, Jimmy! Yeah, Phil's in there tight.
That's a pretty good little roar there.
Yeah, Arrington bogeys 16, drops him to 5 over.
I do love that Wilson's staff has made just a raging comeback in 2019, 2020.
Phil from the primary cut. Slashes through.
He's so good. He's so good at playing from the rough.
Heavy rough.
He must just have a better feel for his angle of attack to hit some ball, but the guy's a freaking magician.
Straight up 6 o'clock here on the East Coast.
USGA also, the US Open has like the best music. You guys have the best lead-in music. Gets you hype.
Looking for another part of the
Masters has like the lull you to sleep music. Where kind of, you're getting hyped, but you're hyped for the tournament. It kind of is like gradually building. This, like, it opens from a commercial, and you know you're gonna see some carnage and some fighting.
Mickelson for the lead at 15.
Only one birdie on 15 today, Mike Weir. Can he read it right? Nope. That is a very unusual little spot back there.
I don't know how you read these greens. I'm seeing a lot of wiggling and a lot of
Shot,
speed.
it just released and went all the way down.
Good putt.
Nicely judged there.
I also feel like visors have not really made a comeback in a while.
Just a moment ago at 16.
I feel like we don't have as nice a hair anymore.
70-yard second shot for Steve Stricker. Good clean strike. He likes it. Be right. And it is.
He's so good. This is before, I think, his back-to-back comeback players of the year, which I'm not quite sure how that works, but pretty awesome. I don't think that will ever be done again. 2 years in a row to come back. I don't know how it works, man, but
This is huge, though. This will give
I'm
him
really
spread.
into that stat.
With his talent and experience and his momentum winning the last 2 majors, you know, it's not a gimme, but this is really an important putt to spread himself from the field.
I don't know if I've ever seen Bones read putts this closely. I'm not sure if I'm remembering wrong, but kind of nice to see the guy in there. Now he's a real broadcaster, unlike myself. I also think I'm playing golf with him on Wednesday, so shout out to us being friends. Pretty cool moment for both of us. I loved his old putting thing where he'd do his little 100 in a row drill. I mean, at this point, he's going to win. Like, he's got to win. He's hitting it everywhere and making birdie on 2 of the last 3 holes. He's going to win the U.S. Open. He's got to be feeling it.
He's heard it before, Murph. We've talked about it all championship week long. It's never ended in a victory in this championship, but a 2-shot lead.
And they love it, man.
Well, he's got him whipped whipped it to a froth, doesn't he? They're excited. Look at him. Look at these guys.
Two-shot lead with 4 to 2.
To
Oh,
become just the second player in the modern
wish I remembered this better.
to win
I
4
only know
matches in a
18.
row.
I know nothing else.
Take another look at that stroke. That was nothing
It was
but
weird to see
solid.
somebody with like a 6-footer up the hill, like easy birdie putt at Winged Foot. You keep waiting for people to have putts like Ogilvy did, where it breaks like 6 feet, and if it goes in, it's just a miracle. This is like, yeah, it's obviously the easy hole on Phil Mickelson.
Most fairways, but Mickelson is proving today that he's just got more creativity and more magic in his bag with all the short shots and artistry shown from the rough. It's been an amazing show.
You're right.
Sounded good. I haven't really seen him hit a great iron shot just yet.
155.
There you go.
So hard to get it. That'll funnel back down. There's that little cup there. We saw Colin get it up there. But
Kind of the same putt Audrey and Furyk had when Furyk left it like 12 feet short. I'm assuming it's really fast over the hill, but not usually good. Now as a media guy, I get to actually see what happens before it happens, so kind of helps me predict, but still a little confused because I'll probably just make it or something. I don't know.
No problem for the man who 5 times has been in the top 10 of the putting stats on the PGA Tour.
Man, that's a cool stat. He is just the best putter. Something people could try. Get your hands as high as you possibly can when you putt, and it locks your wrists in. So then you can't, I don't know, you can't mess it up. I always thought I was going to hit it low on the face, but obviously it seems to work for Stricker better than me. Not surprised.
I don't know how much help we're going to get back here, back in these trees, but I was thinking 3. I mean, if you're interested in getting the ball down, I don't want it to go over too much because then it just runs on. Okay, well, there you go. I like 4. By all means, you got it.
Has there been a course that has been broken down more than Winged Foot by Bones and Mickelson?
Well, the two of them are real, you know.
I mean, the fairway
They
is
really know what they're
very
doing.
small.
You see that one little creek. It's
Looks
really
like it's in the iron just to be short of that last. Looks like it runs down, so he's trying to have something to stay up on top of the shelf, risk a little distance, or give up a little distance, but gain a nice flat lie. Obviously trying to keep comfortable with it very, very straight.
He's looking at it like
Doesn't
it's
look
not
like
a
he
gimme.
loves it.
Now, this is down the left center. We'll see what kind of bounce it gets when it gets over the crest of the hill.
Well, that's why
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. So he had 4 irons to the 3 iron right
that's
call.
a pretty good leave, I think.
I'll remind
Got
Bones
the
that
ball
one
below his feet on a
Wednesday.
downhill side hill lie,
We'll
which
have no
is
Phil
not an
goes
easy
right.
shot when you got to hit to
But now it looks like he's going to have a down slow, little ball below your feet. Probably not the easiest shot, but I mean, the dude's getting up and down from the rough, left and right from second shot, so wouldn't be surprised. Also, Bones just got him a water. They're really vibing.
Tough to get it back there, huh?
We'll look
Johnny,
left.
only 2 birdies here all day.
The only miss I ever see Furyk
There's
have.
a little sideboard there.
Yeah,
Oh, never mind, wasn't a miss.
All right.
I don't think he had a clue.
Furyk in a couple in the U.S. Open at Olympics up to that. He had a couple left misses. I'm not sure if that's like his little issue when it gets under the gun, but for one of the best iron players ever, you try to find some sort of trend. This is a freaking good break. Gotta be careful the tip doesn't grab. The face opens hard, but a lot better than being 2 inches right.
Right on the crease.
His swing plane doesn't make the crease worse, or it can go right along it.
I think it's right along it.
Yeah, it looked like the face stayed open.
High and headed right.
All right, well, I got him. All right, guys, we're gonna go right back. Stream's not working. That's why you're hearing me too much. So give us 1 minute.
Harrington struggling here at the finish. The 16th, Montgomerie's second shot. Good tee shot, right side of the fairway, 183 yards to the hole.
It's a heck of a tee shot under pressure, Gary.
All right, we're back.
Shot under pressure, Gary.
Echo free.
Narrow out there.
Can you hear me, Max?
4 yards wide.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You've never sounded better, personally. And I mean,
I had a mega panic attack while we had to do that. Thank you everyone for sticking with me. That was quite frightening.
you had to man the controls. What were your, as a media man, how did it feel?
I gotta say, I was playing Call of Duty the other day, Warzone. Shout out to my video game friends, and our audio went out, and it's really not very easy if you don't know where everyone is or where everyone's going. I felt like it prepped me for this big moment.
So we were talking as we were figuring stuff out and getting everything tweaked. The leaderboard was up. Mickelson leads by 2. How about this graphic? 99 career starts in the United States by the win. This would obviously be 100.
Just to put this out there, the Get a Grip podcast has more PGA Tour victories than Colin Montgomerie. How messed up is that? Like, that doesn't seem fair.
Not great.
That doesn't seem fair.
Between us two. But it's, again, like, Phil has this thing wrapped up. He is in complete control of major championships right now. He's the guy to beat. And he's got a 2-shot lead, and he's in the first cut, with, 4 holes to play.
So there's times when you see somebody leading and you think, okay, like, it's been sketchy. It's been a bit, he's been a bit on edge. He hasn't hit very many fairways, but he makes it look so easy from the rough that you think, what could possibly derail him? Like, if you're getting out of the rough, well, if you're making birdies from the rough in the first cut, like, yeah, man, you figured it out. He's rolling the ball awesome. Short game's obviously the staple of his game, but it just seems like he can kind of hit it wherever he wants to, and it's going to be okay. Add in, maybe a couple fairways on the stretch in this thing, put a bow on the thing. Like, someone's going to have to shoot a couple under just to have a chance. And I mean, obviously we know a little bit better, but it's wild. Like I said, I don't remember much about this tournament except the last hole. I was getting water balloons thrown at me. This is an interesting watch, to say the least.
Ogilvy has unbelievable DPI. His DPI is pretty solid.
DPI.
Yeah, it's you can
DPI.
See, this was like a morning shave. It was like a real morning shave, and you can see just it's ready to pop again.
Patty has always gone sans facial hair. I think it brings out his eyes, his intense eyes.
And the tongue.
Yeah, he gets that thing. So does Cantley. It must be for really, really good players. Michael Jordan, Cantley, Padraig Harrington, and maybe I got to adopt that.
Those are the 3 I put together.
Yeah, I might be the first person to go by. Again, if this lie is half decent, this shot is pretty easy. He's below the hole. Yeah, he's looking like he's going back stance, trying to pop the ball out. Yeah, so not a particularly difficult shot, all things considered, minus the whole, pressure thing, which I think is a pretty big deal. But yeah, that's the idea. You go back in the stance, you try to hit a lot of ball because you want to take out the risk. Now, shots where you need to get the ball in the air, that's not really an option. But on a shot like that, chipping uphill, Joe tells me all the time, when it's really, really difficult, days like Bay Hill, days like a U.S. Open type golf course, you need to be chipping into the wind as much as you can. I don't care if that means you're a little short-sighted, you need to be chipping into the wind. Then if there's no wind, you're chipping uphill. You need to make it as easy as possible to stop the golf ball. He just did that right there, Padraig did. Smart shot from Phil. I mean, not a very good stance all in all, but we've seen that putt now twice, and Ogilvy got the speed right, but we saw Furyk and Padraig struggle a bit with it. Looks like it comes up and down. I will say this, Shane, you watch a lot of this on your guys' coverage. When you can actually tell where the slopes are on a green from the camera, it's very scary because that means it's like triple the size of what you're actually seeing. Man, he's hit 3 unbelievable putts that have missed.
Was that a putter? That's the subtle putter kick?
A little kick.
Okay. I don't hate it. It's not going to bend it. That's not going to bend a shaft.
You better hope not, because you don't want to be playing this golf course without a putter. I mean, look at these putts. These putts break 4 feet. Am I sure I want to get into the U.S. Open?
I was going to say.
I'm rethinking it a little bit. Although I'll take if you can tell me 4 or 5 over will be good, I can muster that up.
You know, because we're talking about scoring, here's the birdie from Phil. Justin Ray, our boy, sent obviously some research about most difficult major championship venues. 07 at Oakmont, average score to par, plus 5.7 strokes. 06 U.S. Open was next, plus 4.99. Whew. Fewest rounds in the 60s at a U.S. Open since 1970, okay? 1972, Pebble Beach, 4. 70, Marion, 7. Winged Foot in 74, the Master was 8. This one only had 12 rounds in the 60s.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting when you don't see any, like on that first page of the leaderboard, nobody posted a number. And,
right.
I mean, that's a testament. I mean, I was watching the Olympic Club U.S. Open the other day, and, you know, Michael Thompson posted a number, and obviously it doesn't happen all the time, but we didn't see a single score up there of anybody posted. You know, no one's made it past 17 that's still on that leaderboard. It's just it's difficult to get, 3 under. And 3 under would be equivalent to probably like a 9 under par, 10 under par round. And what difficult golf courses do, you can see some, 9 under par rounds on golf courses where are soft, a little bit more benign. And then you get out to a course like this, and it's almost too difficult for an entire day not to make some sort of mistake. That putt is slower than everyone thinks. I mean, Phil came up short, Furyk came up short, Ferry comes up short. I think when it comes off that backside of that ridge, I think they expected to pick up speed, and it's not really doing that. Now Phil's got
Max, you're in this position. Yes, let's say you're in this Phil position right now. I mean, again, you make this, it's got to feel almost like a birdie, and like a birdie, if you're
every par feels like a birdie. He knows in the back of his head, 4 pars, I just won the U.S. Open. Nobody's shooting 2 under coming in, given the graphic that we saw. Also, he's the best player in the world at this exact moment, as we've documented. Yeah, I mean, this is hard to watch.
It's jarring knowing what's to come. I'm with you.
I thought he was going to miss it, just knowing what happened, man. It's wild. He's rolling it great. Like, I know his driver hasn't been awesome. Even his long irons off the tee haven't been like perfectly dialed, but the guy is making this look relatively easy since we've come on. That was his first kind of stressful par putt, I think. And even that was 4 or 5 feet pretty much up the gut. I'm assuming this is 18. Yeah. I like when they do this. I love when they show the 18th hole early. I know that they have to, but I want to see what we're going to see the leaders do. Golf course seems like it finishes where you just have to turn the ball over off these tees. Phil, for instance, having to cut it, which usually fits Phil's eye great.
Again, this is 06, coming off a second Masters victory. He won that first Masters when he basically adopted the cut with the driver. He was always the guy that wanted to beat it forever and turn it over. And when he basically said, I just want to cut the ball, I can win at Augusta cutting the ball, wins 2 Masters in a couple of years. And to your point, he's got the lead coming down the stretch on all these holes where you have to hit a cut with the driver. I mean, he's got to be thinking. Yeah. And when you read the comments after about how devastated he was, I bet it's because of all the things we're talking about right now, is how it seemed like a virtual layup for the guy.
Yeah, obviously, it's going to be, you still got to hit the shots, you still got to pull it off, but I'm sure he's more comfortable than a lot, on a lot of these holes, just like you said, considering his preferred ball flight. Jim Furyk just got a horrible bounce, and with his little in to out golf swing, I mean, that heel is in the worst spot possible. But yeah, see, like this hole looks just like 18 to me as far as the shape goes. There's no bunker to peel it off of, but you would think it's just to aim way right and just hit that fairway finder mega cut. It might only go 280, but this man from the fairway is absolutely lethal. He's played this hole freaking awesome. Oh, this is still when he was working with Rick.
This ball down the right side, not cutting.
Oh, man.
Got a good lie. Got a good lie. I'll say this. I'm sure it's a gift and a curse. I, for instance, like I don't, and pretty much everybody, but I would say the top few guys ever, playing out of the rough in this kind of stuff is a nightmare because most of us don't. It's not. It might not be that we don't know how to do it, but certain angles or something like it's just it's you never feel like you're the aggressor. Phil, to me, gift and a curse in U.S. Open, like he can hit it in the rough, and we've watched him have birdie looks, make birdies, and eventually you would think it catches up to you, but the guy really seems to be a magician when it comes to. I mean, I always thought that with Tiger at Pebble on 6 when he has that famous 7-iron, hacks out up and over the tree and gets it on the front of the green, like. That's as much talent and speed and skill as it is knowledge. Like he knows the angle he had to get onto that golf ball, and then they seem to be able to repeat it. The guy, Phil, I mean, he's just amazing when it comes to that. It never seems to completely phase him. So it's almost like I would imagine why you see so much speed out of him off the tee, because it's as long as he's not stymied behind a tree, all good. And we've been watching it. I have a sneaky feeling it's going to catch up to him.
72 for Luke.
So he went short. I mean, that's so good. This again, where like U.S. Open's so different, and again, it messes with your mind. But that shot, usually, you're not playing to bounce up for a pretty, not simple, but basic, mini spinner, like a mid-flight spinner. You land on the front of the green, it spins pretty hard. If you clip it good, you have a foot. Now all of a sudden, a shot you don't practice a ton, even at your home course, very few courses are firm enough to do this at. You're hitting, kind of a spinning bump and run. Like you need it to check, but you landed that 10 feet short of the green, 8 feet short of the green, runs it up perfect, leaves it below the hole, but it tests a lot of shots. I feel like that's what Augusta does. It tests a lot of shots that we don't hit a lot. Like that's not a common shot. Like a bump and run, sure, but not one with a 60 or 56 degree. You're landing that short of the hole when it's actually uphill. Annika, gosh, no one better.
Will be there to break through with her first win as a professional. It's the U.S. Women's Open. Coverage begins Saturday, July 1st.
My buddy works for Annika Sorenstam and her crew, and he said she still got it. Like she could drop down a bucket of balls after a month off and just still got it. This is the one I'm telling you. I actually don't know what happens here, but the way his golf club comes into a golf ball, he's not steep, like a Phil or something. He's definitely a lot more shallow. That heel, that hosel, everyone's favorite word, comes in a lot more on this thick old rough. He got a horrendous bounce on the left side of the fairway.
I'd never noticed this before, but with the close-up they just had of Furyk, is there a chance that Jim Furyk's arms are hairier than yours?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the blonde thing, man. You gotta. Mine's just dark.
It's actually just a little bit downgrade.
Keep trying to tell her, but I'm really handsome. There it is. There it is. Sorry, guys.
He's kind of got that thing going. Yeah,
and it's just, dude, when your heel's going in anyways, it's a death sentence.
I just don't think it was a very good.
And he's on the down slope of the bar. I mean, this is a nightmare. This course.
It just, rarely with professional golf is your score dictated by the tee shot. I feel like watching this, these guys' scores are dictated by where they hit their tee shots. Because if you hit it in this rough, you're either taking a chance at trying to get it up by the green, or you're laying up and now you've got to get it up and down on some of the toughest greens we've ever seen at a U.S. Open.
Yeah, you're trying to. If you miss the fairway, you have to pick between like the best of two bad situations. Would you rather have 80 yards from the middle of the fairway, or if you think you can go for it, you're probably assuming A, I can hit it on the green on a 10 out of 10 shot, and B, you're going to be below the hole chipping up, because as good as these guys are from 80 yards, they're going to have anywhere between 15 feet, maybe a gimme. You don't want to take that possibility out of your hands by going for it kind of in a very bold way, considering how thick this rough is. It's not a great shot. his hat has progressively gotten more tilt to the right as we've gotten farther on this back nine. He's gone like full CC Sabathia, Dontrell Willis. Like it's just slowly moving over. There's this.
Can you show us what? Will you
He's
give
just
us
like
what
I feel like as he's gotten like a little bit more and more frustrated, it's just going like this. It hasn't quite made it to there, but he's trending. If he had to play an emergency 9, that hat would be backwards.
Okay.
That should be something they should implement. Emergency 9. Like
Look
Phil
at
should be able to
the
finish
rough.
it and be like emergency 9.
Look at the rough. Look at the rough here.
And he's got like 200 yards. It looks like. Yeah, Ken, you go, man. I need a minute.
I'm still
I gotta
about
get myself together.
The group in front, Geoff Ogily was able to knock in that putt for par.
That's so good. I mean, again,
Trying to get that thing to chase up.
I will say this: he needs to make some birdies to win, but in general, right there, you are thrilled. You actually have that's a good birdie look in this sense. So 174, probably a 7-iron. He's probably doing the same thing Kenneth just did. Chop it up, run it up that opening.
Man, that was supposed to be in good.
Yeah. So what would you say? A yard or two to his left? Let me do this. His left?
Hey, you know what? For left, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
How does that happen from 175? Had no spin. Oh, I'm telling you, man, golf is the worst. Man, Geoff has some long arms.
That was like a wedge, a spinny wedge might plug like that, and he gets that plug with a 6 or 7 iron out of the rough.
So to the complete opposite of what we were talking about before, where you feel like you got to win, coming off all these like just really close calls for Phil, obviously he's beyond deserving of winning a U.S. Open or 6. I wonder if any of that puts in his head like, man, like, I know he's an incredibly positive person, and I doubt that it affects it, but you got to think a little bit, man, like, that seems a bit unfair. Like, maybe.
But before he hit the bunker shot, when he was in the rough and it was like knee-high rough, our boy Mo Money, Mo Problem 6 said that currently looks like his backyard. And I'm thinking, Mo Money, Mo Problem 6 needs to upgrade his lawnmower.
I feel like everyone's lawn right now is kind of nice. Like, isn't that all there is to do? I don't have a lawn. I have rocks. My rocks look fresh.
How do they look? How are your rocks?
They look fresh. I might make one of them a pet rock. I never had a pet rock before.
Do you have one of the things that you can go in and rake the rocks to kind of refresh them?
I'm gonna invest in that, Shane. You sold me. You're quite the salesman.
I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you.
I'm gonna flip them over. A lot of them are seeing a lot of sun. I'm gonna give them the backside, little tanning situation.
I just want to prepare you as the weather's changing in Arizona. You start messing with those rocks. That's when the scorpions come out. So make sure.
So I don't have scorpions at the house. Pretty awesome.
That's what
you have.
That's what you say.
No, it's a fact.
You can barely see the golf ball.
Yeah, this is shout out to Andy Johnson. This is the friedest of the eggs. If there's one person in the world that want to hit this golf shot, though, it's Phil. I feel like he's practiced this. I feel like he did this week.
I mean,
that's phenomenal. See, very smart. Again, I know it's a kind of a joke, but I know he practices that shot. We all kind of throw ball in there here and there, but he aimed so far left knowing that heel was going to get caught and turn it back over.
Oh, my goodness. Montgomerie.
I feel like they clicked to that pretty quick. We didn't get a build-up. Look at him. He's like, I haven't made a putt all day. I haven't made a putt all day. He doesn't even look that happy. He's like, oh, shoot, now I got a chance. Yeah, Johnny said it perfect. Here's Harrington, I think.
Yeah. You know, Harrington's going to finish. I mean, if he doesn't make that, bogey, bogey, bogey.
Yeah, and one of those was from the middle. 2 of those were from the middle of the fairway.
Man.
I'm telling you, the hat, man, it's not blocking his left eye as well.
His left eye is exposed.
It's getting more exposed, man. I mean, Monty
Could
is.
be tied in just a couple of
I've seen
moments.
all the emotions of Monty on the last 30 seconds, except for like pure joy.
Happiness, right? Except for
Happiness has
happiness.
eluded him a little bit. What a freaking putt. We just saw Furyk have the same putt. He missed it a foot low. Monty reads the thing to come in the back door. This is beautiful.
Shout out to 10 in the flag.
Oh, man. Those were the days, huh?
So I had a buddy of mine, Rusty.
I hope that's
He's excited. Look, he's smiling. He's smiling. So, the crowds were rooting for Monty, which is different with Phil being in the hunt. But there was a little bit of a switch with Montgomerie on Sunday where the crowd started to get behind him, knowing how important this was going to be. And you started to hear some cheers for him. When that putt went in, the crowd went crazy. It's a little different than I think what we've seen with Montgomerie in the past. I think they realized this was as good a shot as he's going to have.
Got it there.
There's one drop.
I mean, that's a good. I mean, not the end of the world. I mean, yeah, I know he probably heard the roar of Monty, but you gotta have good pace. He had great pace, gave it a chance. I wonder if a lot of those Monty supporters were kind of like Knicks fans, or Mets fans. Like, I'm sure that they're not Yankees fans who are accustomed to rooting for like the best team, but
Rooting
maybe
for
they're
champions.
finally like, yeah. Like, he deserves a win. Like, give him a win. Both these guys, give him a win. Like, they deserve it. And I feel like maybe they, they
I
feel
like
that
I like that.
compassion.
So the Mets fans are rooting for Monty. Knicks fans are rooting for Mickelson. Who's rooting for Ferry?
His mom. These little putt. I mean, this looks like it breaks a cut. Always one of my favorite words announcers say, because it's them trying to say he's very slow right now.
Deliberate.
So they say deliberate because it has a positive kind of undertone. But it means like, hey, man, like, I have dinner reservations. I need you to pick this thing up. Do you ever not root for, like, do you ever root against a playoff, Shane, so you can like get off the air, so you could go, be a person again?
I was we had this unreal playoff at the women's amateur a couple of years ago. Went forever. It was these long putts being made. Now, I in the booth, and I won't name who, but I in the booth was loving it. There was a certain somebody in the booth that did have dinner reservations that I don't want to say was rooting for the playoff to end, but I think was very excited when the playoff did end. But I mean,
does
I
his
love this
name
stuff,
does
right?
his name rhyme with Rad Saxon?
No, I'm not. It was not Brad. I'm not going to throw Brad under the bus. It was not Brad Faxon. I'll say that.
All right.
So hey,
Not a
so
great
the
putt.
leaders.
That putt breaks the foot, man. He's had again. This is all. I know this is leave and whatever. Like, a lot of this is a little bit luck, but he had a really tough bunker shot. But he seems like he's had a lot of putts like in the last 4 or 5 holes that have broken, away from him. Left to right putts for righty always stink. Not exactly the leaves you want, and some of that is just fortune. Some of that is quality of golf shot. He seems like he's had some difficult leaves.
So just to show how hard the stretch is, the final 3 holes that when we've talked about how brutal it is, on Sunday, of the players that finished in the top 10, 1 birdie on 18, Mike Weir, that got him into the top 10.
A lefty. I mean,
1 birdie on 17, that fella who just made a 425-foot putt. 2 birdies on 16 all day from the top 10, and 1 birdie also on 15. Mike Weir played the last 5 and 2 under to jump in the top 10.
Man, that's pretty impressive stuff. These guys would give a lot of money to do that. This looks like the first.
So the
hole
tall tree on the right's
right?
not there anymore, but the play when I was there when the tees were up a bit is you hit it right at the tree with a cut as a lefty.
Okay. This tee shot can't fit his eye. It looks like he's playing a huge cut all day, trying to find it. Hole goes the other direction.
Oh no!
I always wondered, and this is what I do. I don't draw my driver as comfortably as I would do my with a cut. So I've built like my 3-wood to draw more so that on holes where it's uncomfortable like this, I'll switch to just a 3-wood. I might give up a little distance, but I always wondered if he did draw his 3-wood better and if that was
just pull that
part
out
of it.
Well, and this is pre. I mean, I don't think this is. I think this was before he did the 2 drivers in the bag. I think
Before
this was before
Frankenwood.
Frankenwood. Where he went with basically like a massive 2-wood as that. I mean,
I've always liked this big long shadow situation here. You got to get the crowd incredibly still, which is impossible. It's the 18th hole. They've been drinking all day. I mean, let them move.
This is, you're thinking if you're Colin Montgomerie with the way it's playing is drive this in the fairway, I'm going to have a really good chance.
This is one of the best ball strikers of all time, Colin Montgomerie. Obviously, I'm assuming some negative thoughts. He's never won before. He's never won a major before. He's been in this position plenty of times, but probably not won this good. But yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of this golf course seems to be put in the fairway, and you could, you're going to be the aggressor again. And shocker, he does. He's a freaking machine.
Boy, that's what he did, and this one looks good.
Now watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
Wait, no, that's Ogilvy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the fairway. He's got a 7-iron in. Phil, he doesn't know what Phil's doing behind him, but Phil looks like he has a heck of a time trying to make a 4. Knowing Phil hit it, up there close, but
here you go. This was
right out of the break.
Convo between the two.
It was not going slow. My gosh, look at him. He almost got. He's so mellow. He almost shocked himself how happy he was.
So his caddy told him to like a hat tip back to Watson, Bruce Edwards, and Pebble. Said just chip it in. Just chip it in before he hit it. He made it.
That's great. That's a great caddy. I will say I haven't seen Ogilvy like hit very many good shots, like full swing shots yet. But you're right. His short game's been great. He's made some awesome up and downs. Phil's got his hands on his head again.
It's like the 3rd time in 4 holes.
I do it a lot, and I imagine he does it a lot too. Like so many times I'll just hit driver and then get up to wherever the ball is, and I'll just be like, sitting there like, why didn't you just hit something else? Like, it's not like sometimes I gotta hit myself and be like, dude, stop hitting driver.
Right.
I always think the next one's gonna be the one where I just figure it out. Like I got it, like forever. I drive it super straight now.
You've been missing it both ways all day. You're like, I got it on 18.
This is the one. This is the one. Again, it is good when you hit it way offline though, because you do get, as far as US Open goes, you get, this is the Torrey Pines thing, you get bare lies where you can work the ball. The hardest thing about the thick rough is if there is a tree in your way, it's not like you can just pull out a draw or a cut. Like the ball doesn't curve much from the rough. You can't put spin on it to move it. I always love when the fans tell everybody when to be quiet. I do love it. He's got the golf shoes on too. I mean, this guy is excelling.
Is this not a volunteer?
Is it? Oh, it might be.
I don't think so. I think you're right. I think this is just a fan.
Like a fella. Just
like a part-time job.
Oh, that is so sick. That is so sick. Oh, my God. US Open on the line. Just pull that off. No big. Phil's the man. Again, you couldn't do that from just the rough, so... I like his approach of just hit it as far as you possibly can. And if you hit the fairway, you're probably going to make birdie or you're Phil.
Now, Max, you heard Dan mention that. He drove it in a trash can and had to get a drop. That's probably not what you want on the 71st hole of US Open.
I hope you can change balls if you do that.
Where's your drive at? It's in the trash. Right here. It's in the trash.
All right, just leave it there, man. Just leave it. This is going to be sick. This thing's going to cut 20 yards. I mean, that's so hard to do, to hit a low cut like that.
With a mid-iron, right?
Yeah, how did it? What did that look like? An 8-iron, 7-iron?
Yeah, it was like 181.
Oh yeah, it's got to be at least a 7. Maybe it was a little 6. He's hit so many cool shots. If you ever go through like the YouTube of just best Phil recovery shots, they're wild. He'll hit a 3-wood from 130 under a tree. The guy is a magician. Kenneth Ferry, kind of the forgotten man. Still, obviously for everybody, but especially someone like Kenneth, like you need a great finish here still because
You want to get it next year, finish
you want to
top
get it
5.
next year. You want to get more this pre-FedEx, maybe pre-FedEx cut, but still you want to. I don't know where he is on the money list. Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want to get fined.
He was 102nd in the world coming in.
Oh, so he's way better than I thought. My bad.
Yeah, he's 2-time winner on the European Tour at this point. And he was trying to be the first player since Francis Ouimet to win the U.S. Open in his first start.
So a lot of world ranking points though here, which does matter.
It's going to end up short, but a pretty good shot. He actually drove the ball into the Champions Pavilion.
There it is, right down in front.
So Phil drove it in a trash can. VJ drove it in the Champions Pavilion, and Monty drove it in the fairway. Attaboy, Monty.
This is
hard to believe.
Be interesting to do a full story one day on your one mulligan and just go through a whole bunch of Hall of Famers. What's your one mulligan you wish you could have back? I mean, there's no question it would be this.
Yeah, this is a no-doubter. I mean, you think
this is
hits
one
a
of the
shot,
worst.
he
This
plays
is probably
a
the
cut,
worst shot he's ever hit.
plays a cut. You can play it off the
Johnny
middle of the
says-
green.
I think Johnny says he switched clubs, and I think Johnny calls him on it here.
Yeah. He says when you had all this time, why change something this late? Now, a little unfair. The wind could have switched a little, but it's one of my favorite sound bites of all time, I will say, though, because it almost exudes how much confidence he has in his iron game. And when he hits it, it's like, I don't do that. I'm Colin Montgomerie. I don't do that. Like, what is that? You can feel
Short,
it from
everybody
his
short
voice.
was dead all day. Short of
Yeah.
that with that whole location on 18.
Yeah, it comes off the
Unfortunately,
knob and kind of runs. This is the
So now,
first putt.
I mean, 2 putts here, Phil.
I mean, it's a good putt. Hard to be super aggressive. Right in the jar, too, but this is tough. Oh, this is tough.
The drive Montgomery hit on 18, the drive he hit on 18 was the European Tour's shot of the month.
Yeah.
And Montgomery. Just driving in the fairway on 18 constituted them categorizing it the shot of the month. Now, the iron play didn't get a nominee.
He's a long hitter, and he's hit a beauty.
Who knows, Johnny? He may not need a birdie here. A par, a +5.
Just an absolute nightmare. I will say it goes to the front of the
It went to the back of
of
the
the divot. Back of the divot.
You want it to be in the front of the divot, right?
I don't mind it in the back. If it's in the front, the issue is you get the front. You get a lot of restriction from the thickest part of the divot. The middle would be the most predictable, but I think it's the hardest. A lot of times when you get it in the very back of the divot, if you can get on the back of the ball, you can shoot it out like low, but you can get a lot of. It can be quite solid because you're not interacting so much with like the sideboard, the walls of the divot. Plus, obviously, like I said, the front of it has a lot of traction. The ball's actually got to go through turf before it goes up in the air. This looks really nice over here. I mean, garden spot.
Max, you got a question from Hap McWedge. I like that.
We've had some cool names today. I'll give them that.
You were talking about if you're driving the ball poorly. He asked, will Joe take driver out of your hands if you're struggling off the tee? Now, I know he's not going to physically do that, but will Joe lean on you to, hey, maybe 3-wood here, buddy?
No. Yes, no. It's a very difficult line. Being a caddy is very difficult in that you don't want to ever show that you are unconfident in your player's ability to hit the fairway. But I will say that I'm sure if I said, do you like 3-wood or driver, he'll say 3-wood before I get the driver part of the question out. So it'll be stuff like that. But, yeah, it's very rare. if it's the 5th hole, 6th hole, even if it's the 12th hole, he can't come up to me and say, we haven't hit a lot of fairways. Let's put, he's got to still make me feel like I'm going to drive the ball great the rest of the day. So it's a fine line.
Looks real easy.
I mean, you got to hit it just over. The other thing is too, you do need to make sure you make bogey, like in your head,
Right.
like you have to make a bogey. So you can't be super cute with it. The most common thing out of thick rough is long left because the hosel turns and the face shuts and it goes further. It's just an impossible shot. Plus, he's also really pissed off about that second shot. That's not a Colin Montgomerie play. Got a lot more ball and it just shoots. And what are you going to do?
That was a brutal second shot.
Right now, Monty needs another bomb like
This is where I'll give Johnny he's great because he will not sugarcoat it.
He was unbelievable the last 45 minutes of this broadcast. If you were gonna frame a broadcast from Johnny Miller as maybe the best of his career, 06 would at least be in the 4 you'd vote for. I mean,
We very well should have just shut up and just have him do the whole thing, but we're doing this because we have to, like, we're like the actual people who have to talk. So I felt like I had to talk, but I could have just listened to Johnny the whole time. But it felt like I was mailing it in a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear.
This is the white flag, right?
Yes. They don't show enough highlights of the Shark, like, doing cool stuff. I mean, the guy was number one in the world forever. Like, I can't keep looking at these horrendous things that have happened to him.
Fuzzy said he thought that was for birdie. That's why he was waiting.
Oh, he did.
Of course, that was for par, yeah.
Maybe just don't do it. That's also.
I kind of liked it. So your point is, you got this putt for par. You want to make it.
You got to make bogey
all day.
The ball goes in. The ball goes in. You got to make bogey. And you have to have that in the back of your mind a little bit.
Boy, this is sad.
It is difficult to watch when you think about all the close calls that Montgomerie has had. I mean, Mickelson has not won this championship either and has been a runner-up 3 times, but this man and all that's happened to him to get this close. Mickelson was just told by the walking score. He asked, wanted to know, and was told that Monty's par putt was missed.
What he doesn't know is that Ogilvy is in birdie position, and he probably isn't even factoring in Ogilvy.
There it is, Johnny. It is right in front of that.
And the worst.
Yeah, Johnny called it again. He said he wasn't even factoring in Ogilvy if you're hearing all that. Like, you got to factor in the guy in the middle of the fairway. I can't imagine it helped though that they had to wait on that tee. I mean, he hasn't hit a good drive since we've come on, and all of a sudden he's sitting and waiting and thinking.
Well, and Monty mentioned after, when they mentioned BJ had hit it in the Champions Pavilion, and apparently
it took a while.
Forever for him to get the rule in and the drop. And so, when he's sitting there in the fairway waiting to pull clubs, change his clubs and all that, and then misses that one. So middle of the fairway.
That's another phenomenal putt, though. Oh my gosh, he missed a lot of good putts.
Making 6.
What a turn from 17 to 18, man.
Colin Montgomerie is going to be 0 for 58 in major championships. I mean, he is a modern-day Mickelson.
That's brutal, man.
He had a great chance.
All right, BJ for par. To finish his day with a 73.
The top 10 players on the board play the 18th hole 7 over on Sunday. 7 over par.
I mean, the hole looks really, really difficult, but I would say that's not normally not ideal. A lot of pressure, small fairway, and what seems to be a pin on the side of an actual hill.
Colin Montgomerie will wonder if there'll ever be another chance. That was a golden opportunity.
A stretch for Vijay Singh, by the way, Max, in 06, going back to the win in the PGA Championship when he won it in 04. Here's your Poulter outfit, by the way.
Back behind down the fairway.
Chewing on that gum.
He's at +9, not a factor. But he's playing with a man who is a factor, Geoff Ogily at +5.
So, Max,
his position.
going to VJ, wins the 04 PGA Championship, T5th, T6th, T5th, T10th the next year in the majors, T8th, T6th in the Masters and the U.S. Open. So, quite a run.
And that's not going to stay.
Boy, that was close to being pretty darn close.
Yeah, that's the shot that they were talked a lot about being 2 yards away from being perfect.
Next to the flag. That was really 2 horrendous breaks in a row.
There it is out of this divot.
Let's see if he gets sand on the wrong side of the ball when he hits it. Yeah, a little bit, just enough to come up short. Just about that much.
All right, tee shot for Mickelson.
This better be a 4-wood.
Oh, man. Right up and out of it, right away.
Way left, way left. Oh, what a bounce out into the rough to the right. But I don't think that'll leave him much.
Off of the hospitality tent.
I'll tell you what, right now Ben Hogan is officially rolled over in his grave.
Well, Johnny, I do believe he knows what score Colin Montgomerie made here at the last. The scoreboard to the left of the 17th green. The score went up there, and the fans around the...
So that's the other golf course. That's the East course that he would have hit into if not for the... You see the corporate tents there. Actually, the no tents.
I like that line.
Better way left.
I like that line. From the corporate, or from the trash can to the corporate tents.
Max, I know you weren't hearing me for a moment. I was saying when VJ putted out, that was his 7th straight top 10 in the major. Was VJ on this run. 7 straight top 10s.
That's a good career.
Beautiful tee shot.
Just being drawn along with the drama here.
Our boy.
I was watching the Vandeveld 99 Open when he has his little whatever. And
wait.
I don't know, man. After watching it, I can't even talk about it anymore. But he made a really good point. Not a good point. It was an interesting point. Craig Perry holds the bunker shot right in front of him on 18, and if Vandeveld makes that bunker shot, he wins the Open. And he thought to himself, what are the chances that the guy right in front of me makes the shot I need so badly? And I wonder if Phil at any point thought, if I could have just hit the drive like Barry did, just one time, like I win the U.S. Open, like can I trade you one time, tradesies, straight up, I'll give you $1 million.
So Max, this shot, I mean, it's impossible. You're going up over the top.
The nerves, man. I can't. This is not. This is way worse than a 4-footer. He's hit a lot of them. Hit an unreal spinner. And again, I know small differences, but Furyk's putt was on the exact opposite side, but on that high side had a brutal left to right putt for a righty. Not that Ogilvy was, I'm sure, thinking that so much, but he hit such a great shot, leaves it on the other side of the hole, and now has a downhill, yes, but right to left putt, and always much easier for a righty. That was such good contact. I mean, he had 3 of those coming down the back 9. Again, hard to spin it.
Like 3 or 4 just real clippy ones.
Real clippy, spun the heck out of it. Obviously shows he's got his nerves under control, and his mechanics are obviously following suit, but not a. It seems inappropriate that we've seen Poulter's outfit a lot and haven't seen a single shot he's hit. I'd like to see more. If I'm going to look at the pink flamingo outfit, I want to see some shots, man. Show me back it up.
By a number of miraculous shots at great times in championships. We'll see if Ogilvy could kind of maybe make.
What did he shoot today?
I don't know, man. He was 1 over par on the first tee.
Roger, what about a report on Mickelson's situation in lie?
Well, it's out where the gallery has walked, so the lie is clean.
So, Max, it's worth it for you and I to spend a couple of minutes as we see what's going on and he's taking the walk and everything going down. Is, in your opinion, and I mean, it's easy to say this now, you know, watching and knowing what happened. In your opinion, where was the mistake made? Was it this shot?
It's this shot. Rewatching it, everyone hit driver, man. Like you don't. It's a very difficult second shot. I mean, shoot, Monty had 7-iron in for his second shot. It's not like you can just hit a bunch of 3-iron. Not to mention, Phil didn't really hit the fairway with his 4-iron a lot. And if you miss the fairway back there with an iron, all of a sudden off the tee, all of a sudden you have next to no chance of getting there in two. So I love the driver. He had been missing the fairways, but he'd been hitting in spots where he was hitting the green in two. One of Phil's staples of his game, like we talked about before. He has all the creativity to get the ball up and around the green. He's got one of the best short games in the world. The issue to me is this shot. I do not grasp this shot because he is in the top 5 wedge players maybe ever. Get the ball in the fairway. And not even look at it as I'm trying to make sure I don't make double. You're going to make a par, I would say, 75% of the time, given how good he is at putting and wedges. I didn't love 20/20 hindsight, man. I don't know the gap he's got, you know, but
right.
You would just looking at it from you know, the ivory tower, I guess. I don't grasp the second shot. It feels like he is literally telling himself that this is how I win or lose the U.S. Open, and you're doing that with a 2-iron from a tent off of hard pan. Like I don't love the odds of it. Yeah, I'm not even saying to make sure you make bogey. I'm just making like give yourself the best look at par. Like how are we getting down in 3? Nails.
Huge.
Nails. I mean, he's got to think playoff.
He's at +5.
Phil's at 4.
+6. Furyk made bogey on 18. He would have been at +5. You got Montgomerie, who was at +4, makes double to get to +6 out of it. And Phil sitting there, you see it, at +4 sitting there. So now there's no chance Ogilvy thinks he won the U.S. Open, right? I mean, he's got to be thinking,
I would say no, yeah. He's thinking, I'm just hoping that I get a chance at a playoff. Because he's, you know, Phil's Phil. He hasn't made really a big mistake. He got absolutely hosed with the plug lie. Phil's Phil. He's going to make par. He's the best player in the world right now. He's won the last couple of majors. He's winning this major. I'm hoping I can get in a playoff and take my chances because I'm feeling good after the tremendous up and down. As I look at it from this angle, it does look like a difficult layup to have like a wedge in your hand, but I can't imagine that 2-iron is a whole lot better. It's Phil to throw, man. He's won a trillion tournaments like this, so it's always hard to argue, but I also know what happened.
Yeah, what if Bones would have played his veto here? He gets the one veto a year. He went, no.
If there was one time in the history of golf for a caddy to go full Romeo from Tin Cup, it is this exact moment. Just start breaking them, man. I don't really know. I guess he's trying to go between left of that tree and hook it. I also don't know if it was a 2-iron. I feel like it was a long club, though.
Oh, no, he's caught an elm tree solid. And I believe it's gone backwards. And he still has got to be in a very bad situation, blocked out from the green.
And now Ogilvy's like, you know what? I'm in a playoff. Like, I'm in the playoff.
Right.
But did I just win the U.S. Open? And now, if you're Furyk, if you're Monty, you are punching yourself in the gut. Because, in my opinion, this is where you get ahead of yourself and pick a number that's going to win instead of playing the golf course. You can't. Very obvious on this golf course. You can't tell the golf course what you're going to do. The golf course tells you what you're going to do. And I think that they let the golf course. They tried to beat the golf course, and they got aggressive on a putt. They got aggressive on certain shots, leaving it in the wrong spot. I guess Furyk more or less got a little bit hosed with the second leaving it, with that weird lie. But very difficult to, for Monty, because now he realizes 5 was just fine, and I think he probably got too aggressive with that putt for par, thinking he needed it to win the golf tournament. Again, when you haven't won a golf tournament before, especially a major, you don't know what it takes to win. You have this grandiose idea in your head, and for Monty, it was to make a 40-footer for par, and that's how it's going to happen. Runs it 10 feet by, it's a great putt, but misses, and now you're sitting here thinking, man, I have literally no chance, and I was in the driver's seat 20 minutes ago, whether I hit that green or not.
You guys professionals talk a lot about not making 2 mistakes in a row. It's the key to avoiding the big number is, the drive was a mistake, way left, errant tee shot, you're in trouble, and then you make a decision error with the second possibly, and all of a sudden, now you got this in 3. I mean, you've got to play unreal golf from this point to the end of the 18th hole to make a 5.
I swear that second shot is just Phil being one of the best players ever, and he can do whatever he wants to a golf ball, and it's just it tempts you. He has probably made 2 interesting decisions in a row, but it's worked out so much. His shot's a hope and pray. I mean, literally, you got to play the lie right, you got to hit the shot right, you got to get a number that you like. I mean, he gets absolutely, completely hosed. Considering hose is my word of the day. Considering it plugs, but
2 plugs, two unlikely plugs in the final.
That one's likely because he's hitting an 8-iron to the moon or 7-iron. The other one was a really bad break. This one, it's almost like this one's like, dude, why'd you hit the 2-iron? And it's like the ball plugs because it's like, why? What are we doing, man? Like, you're the best wedge player in the world. Get that ball in the fairway and show everybody why. To me, that's how I'd look at it. But again, like I said, Phil has all the talent in the world. He could hit that 2-iron. He's done it. We've seen it 3 times today. Hit shots from the rough that are in difficult spots onto the green. Very easy pars. I'm sure he's just considering doing that again. I think that's the plan. Now all of a sudden, we saw Furyk's shot was hard enough, and now this one's buried. Poulter's look is always amazing because he looked at him like, dude, I think you might have just won the U.S. Open.
I know. I saw that face. Somebody did ask J.K. Is Poltz on the all-hair team from this U.S. Open? I mean, I got to say, yeah, man.
I mean,
stuff is pretty impressive.
It's shinier than that gold shirt he used to wear.
It's like his hair matched the Winged Foot rough.
What is Ferry thinking?
Ferry's stony.
I mean, he's got to be like, what am I watching? He also probably just wants to get the hell off, out of the way. He also makes that putt for probably 50 grand, maybe more.
Right, maybe more.
It's a big deal. But all the while, I mean, man of the hour.
He's got no idea it's plugged. There's just no idea.
No idea it's plugged. To him, I would say before it's plugged, he still thinks he's in a pretty good spot. I mean, shoot, knowing Phil, how good he is around the greens. I mean, he's like, I'm going to make this thing and win the dang U.S. Open in dramatic fashion.
How about those fans? It looks like you were talking about the Tour Championship a couple weeks ago with Tiger and Rory. I mean,
it's a little weird to let him in when it's very likely it's going to be a playoff on 18 again.
Well, 18 hole.
Oh, this is 18-hole playoff.
This was still 18.
We're back in the day. All right, I like it then. I changed my mind. Did we get to see his face when we see it plugged?
Man, he got a couple bad breaks on the lies, didn't he?
I mean, that's the
ultimate.
Where does that rake plug lie, Bill?
I'd rather the one he had before where you could barely see it, but there wasn't the pancake around it, because the pancake means it's incredibly hard to get any kind of club under ball, where the other one you're going to get it under. It's just going to be hard to guess it's going to be hard to hit it hard enough. Right. In this case, it's like almost always bottoms out just a little early. You don't get under it. The ball comes out head high. Dude, that is sick.
Look at that shot. That is unreal. I don't remember that at all.
The Northeast, golf stuff is so cool. I feel like it's so well received.
Phil said about today, quote, the biggest reason why this is so disappointing is that this is the tournament that I've dreamt of winning as a kid. I spent hours practicing, dreamt of winning this particular tournament, and said I came out here months in advance to get ready and had it right there in my hand, man. It was right there, and I let it go. That's what Phil said after. And I read a few SI articles from Shipnuck and that crew today, and these guys were saying they'd never seen Phil like this. Just sitting in the scores tent. Amy came over to talk to him. He almost didn't react. Look at that look. I mean,
What I find so interesting is Phil didn't have a putt to get in a playoff.
Right.
Like, that's wild. That was an unbelievable bunker shot, by the way. He hit that so high. It just was dead. Again, the golf course, you're trying to beat a golf course that is kicking everyone's butt. Like, no one's under par. Everyone's getting just crushed, and all of a sudden you decide to make a decision to beat the golf course on the last, and you can't. You just can't. That bunker's not a good spot, without it being plugged. He had a great shot, but man, it's just obviously a tough one to swallow. He still has a chip to get in the playoff, but I can't imagine where his brain is at this moment.
I don't want to bring up bad memories, Max, for you, but what was the moment you had? I mean, I don't want to say Phil and Wingfoot, but did you have a tournament? Did you have a professional event where you were in control and you let it slip away at the end? And how long till you kind of can recover from something like that?
Yeah, mine I wasn't necessarily in control, but I felt like 16 this year at Riviera, all I have to do is keep the ball left of the pin. And I hit actually a pretty good shot. But, yeah, I mean, it cut just a little bit, and it comes up short right, plugs in the bunker, and I don't get up and down. I just felt like looking back, if I would have made par there, hit the green and made par, birdie 17, it changes everything Adam Scott has to do and what I have to do. So
interesting.
It didn't sit with me that long, but it's something I'm trying to, learn from. That's crazy, man. I feel like his roller coaster brain of emotions must have been the literal inverse of Phil's, where it's like, please just give me a chance. Phil's thinking, man, this is mine. And then all of a sudden he sees the trees. He goes, I think I have a chance. Let's get mentally ready. While Phil's thinking, okay, maybe a playoff, but I could be a hero. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I just won the U.S. Open. It's, oh my gosh, I just lost the U.S. Open. It's very rare for me to say or to see someone lose a golf tournament. Golf is so difficult. This 18th hole is one of the hardest holes in the world, obviously. But this is one of the few times where I'm, Phil, the reason I think Phil is so distraught is because I do feel like he thinks that he lost the U.S. Open. Or at the very least, a great chance to have it. He had it. I wouldn't say he had the win in his hands. To make par on the last would still have taken some great golf and some stones, to be quite honest. But he would have had a chance with his, with a good one. I would say one good decision of two. You would think at least make five. But I'm not saying I think he should have played for five. I just really wish he would have laid that ball up so he would have given himself a putt to win the dang thing. Like, you lay it up, you have a putt to win the U.S. Open. That's kind of why you show up in the beginning. It seems like he maybe kind of got a little aggressive, but also I didn't see the shot.
Justin Ray letting us know that this was Phil's fifth runner-up in a major. He now has 11 runners-up in majors, second most all-time to Jack Nicklaus, who has 19.
19?
Phil Mickelson. Yeah, and I have a question for you. It's a great question from Jeff Eisenband on Twitter. He said, how does Phil's legacy change if he wins this and holds three majors all at once? How is his legacy different than it currently is?
That has, in my opinion, nothing to do with it. It changes everything because he won the career Grand Slam, which I think is the most underrated stat in golf. So few people have done it. It means that your game travels to anywhere you go. And now we know Phil's game travels anywhere he goes. You don't get this many seconds without it. However, it changes a lot. I mean, Palmer didn't do it. I just remember when Tiger did it when he was young. He talked a lot about it. Rory hasn't done it quite yet. It means a lot. Spieth hasn't done it yet. I don't think he hasn't won the PGA, and it means that your golf game is so well rounded. You can literally beat everyone anywhere. It's the ultimate hey Shane, anytime, any place. It's like, yeah, man, like you can back it up. I think that's something. And so the 3 majors, I mean, I would never know somebody who's held 3 majors. You tell me somebody who's got the career Grand Slam, and it's a whole other echelon of legacy.
So in a way, I mean, even though maybe the specific question doesn't change the way you're looking at Phil,
but it changes his legacy.
The fact that he has all 4 now, including the U.S.
100%.
Open. I mean, you're talking about Phil going from maybe, the 15th best golfer, 12th best golfer of all time, 10th best golfer, wherever you have him, to maybe be in that top 5.
Yeah, it's a jump. Whatever the number gets to, it's higher. This is why I love Phil, though. I mean, he is a freaking classy dude. I can't imagine where he's at right now, and he's still smiling, still whatever. That's why everybody loves Phil. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. You don't get a lot of chances to win majors. He does because he's so good. But looking back on his career, I'm sure at this point he still thinks I'm going to get one. It's hard, but at the same time, it's awesome for Geoff. You said that his career was kind of starting to take off, and the guy wins U.S. Open, man. I mean, without his best, ball striking, which is what he's been known for his career. His irons weren't phenomenal, but he gutted it out. His short game was phenomenal. Made some freaking clutch putts there. I do wonder if Geoff misses that putt on 18, what it changes to Phil. Phil just needs bogey to win. He's got to lay up. I feel like that's a big reason why he walked up to see what he made.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he would have known that. I mean, it would have been hard to maybe know it so quickly there.
But he was watching. Right. You could tell it had to be for par, you would think.
So Max, interesting enough, Phil was going for 3 majors in a row. Has what happens here on the 72nd hole. Ogilvy wins. That led him into a stretch, one of the worst runs in his career, major championships. I mean, he in 2007 didn't finish in the top 10 for the first time in majors since '97. Missed 2 cuts, missed the U.S. Open cut and the Open Championship cut. It is, as we know, when you take one directly to the gut, I mean, it takes a lot to get back to it, to get back to being able to be competitive again. I mean, that's something that we have seen and have seen over the years in golf. But just wrapping up 06, I mean, it was so wild to see so many guys struggle and 2 guys, play the 18th hole as poorly as they could have played it in completely different ways. I think that's what's so wild is Phil makes 6, hitting, a drive 500 miles left and making some poor decisions. And Colin Montgomerie is in the middle of the fairway staring down a U.S. Open and makes one of the worst swings he's probably ever made in his professional career.
I gotta say that's not a fun watch.
Right.
I love hard golf, but the way it finished, it felt a lot like the British Open with Sink and Watson. No disrespect to Stuart Sink, he's an awesome champion, but it does feel like, especially knowing what I know now, like Phil, this changes so much, and you feel like you're really rooting for him. Not that you're not rooting for Geoff, but it just feels almost anticlimactic. You feel like someone's going to have a putt to win the U.S. Open, or we're going to be going to a playoff. And instead, Ogilvy makes a putt that you think is just to get into a playoff at best. And next thing you know, he's won the golf tournament. That felt like it flies by. I feel like it is so, it's just such a rapid change of events. And it's
last 3 holes.
It's hard to stomach.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Phil fan or ever rooting for Phil, I mean, he's got a 2-shot lead with 3 holes to play. Plug lie at 16, plug lie at 18, which as we know, all the things that led up to that. But I mean, Ogilvy with the chip in and the putt and the pitch. That pitch on 18 to get
the pitch was the shot of the day. Better than the chip in, I think. The pitch was the shot of the day. I mean, the chip in changed his chances, but all of a sudden he goes from, I hope I have any kind of chance, to, I need this thing up and down right this moment, and I'm very much in the thick of this golf tournament. On 17, it's to stay in the, I don't know. The chip in's obviously more grand. The ball went in the hole, but I can't imagine the nerves on 18, knowing that for a fact, this is the last shot you've got, and you mess it up, it's over.
Right. So now watching this, the U.S. Open is at Winged Foot in 2020. Schedule change, time change, still at Winged Foot. Does rewatching this make you more excited to be in a U.S. Open at Winged Foot or less excited?
I'm hoping that the time change is going to make the rough go away. Maybe the fairways will be a lot bigger.
I don't think so.
It makes me more excited. I love the U.S. Open, man.
You like tough golf.
I love tough golf. I think everyone really likes it. I think that you just watched today. Ogilvy didn't hit it great, but his short game was so phenomenal that it didn't play him out of it because he had one part of his game clicking. Phil didn't drive it well, but was obviously right in the mix because the rest of his golf game was so good. Furyk same, Padraig same, Monty same. Like, you didn't need to be perfect. Where when you play golf courses where the scores are 25 under par when the rain comes in or something like that, you do need to be really on with your ball strike with multiple things. You need to get hot, I guess is the better way to say it. US Open, I think it's a grind. It's mental. You see a lot of peaks and valleys, and I love that. So it makes me more excited. Although, I'm not going to do a fund for, charity for birdies or anything for that week because it just doesn't look like I'm going to make more than
you donate $40.
Yeah, here's $40. If I make 10, I'll donate $1 million.
I'll Venmo you to the food bank, my 40. Just a reminder, you watch the back nine, of course, of this final round. If you want to watch the entire telecast of this one and other U.S. Opens, you can do so on the USGA streaming app. That is available free. You don't even have to have any money. No birdies for anything. It's free for everybody. On Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. And a shout out to our friends at Cisco. Of course, they do an unbelievable job. They have pledged $225 million in product, cash, services to aid COVID-19 relief efforts. And their Cisco WebEx facilitates everything. Many conversations, everybody's at home, still going through what we're going through right now. And Cisco has stepped up and done a great job. So thumbs up and thank you to our friends at Cisco for our second regripped. Max, thoughts after we watch 96? We get the amateur. Now we get a U.S. Open that was the good thing is we've picked two that had stuff shuffling late.
Yeah, a lot of change at the top late. I'd like to watch a happy one next time. I feel like I just watched the first scene of Bambi, where Bambi's mother dies. That's the physical reaction I'm having to this.
It was, this is Phil's quote. "I am such an idiot," was the quote he said after the round. He called himself an idiot for what happened. At the time, that was the 21st time he finished 7th or better in a major championship. Of course, he was going for 3 in a row and ends with a double, as does Colin Montgomerie. Two guys that had a chance to win this U.S. Open, make 6 on 18. We appreciate everybody watching. If you're a fan of this and you have absolutely no idea that Max Homa plays on the PGA Tour and that I am one of the broadcasters of the U.S. Open this year, I got good news for you. Max, we actually do something else together, right?
Thank the Lord.
We have a podcast. We have a podcast called
If
Get a
this
Grip.
was my only line of media, it would not be a good sign. So yeah, the podcast, we are, what is this, our 15th episode? So we're on 15. I'm finding my groove on that one. A lot of
scrambling in what we're doing with the podcast, but there's no golf available. But it's still entertaining
to talk about.
And obviously, Max will be back at it. The PGA Tour returns next month. Max, good stuff. 06 in the books. And we will let you know this week on social what's coming on Saturday. We've got a couple that we're debating on what we're going to do. There's a women's open we're talking about at Cherry Hills. There's another U.S. Open that we're thinking about diving into. So we'll let you know this week. Follow Max on Twitter at MaxHoma23. I am at Shane Bacon. Hope you guys enjoy it. We will be back next Saturday at 3 p.m. What time, Max? 3 p.m. what?
EDT.
EDT all day long. See you guys.
Wash your hands.